Hello, I'm Tana Renick, and today I'm going to show you how I start a colt when I first get them. This is a 3-year-old Dash to Heaven filly. She's had about 10 months riding. Now, when I first start one on the pattern, I will come up here and I'll trot the pattern and I'll come out here a little ways. I'm going to give them some room, because giving them a little room when you first start them, it's easier for a horse to do that. And when I get to this point right here, I'm going to come across, because I want them to know that when they get to that point, I want to make a big move. And I'll shape that horse a little bit, and I'm going to come out here and then make a big move, so that they get to where they learn when you get on the back side of that barrel, you need to come fast and you need to come hard. And you know, and I shape them just a little bit going into the turn. You know, I'll get their nose just a little. I don't want it cranked to my knee, but I'll get the nose just a little bit. And I don't run them up there and set them in the ground all the time. But at the same time, I will, in the beginning, I will teach these horses. I want them on their own, to learn on their own. And sometimes you got to stop them to do it. When I sit down, I want them to melt to that stop or to a walk on their own. I want to be able to get to every barrel, because that will translate later when you're running. I want them to be able to think on their own. And like right here, she felt me set down. It wasn't a pulling contest to get her around that barrel. And like, I got her nose just a little bit, not much. And she just kind of melts down there. I'm gonna trot out of that, but I want them to just melt on their own. I don't want them, something that I see with a lot of people, in myself, I guess years ago, maybe I did this, but the way I learned was old school, where you do trot them up there and you stop them in the ground, or you run them up there and you stop them in the ground every time. That didn't work for me, because when I would go to adding speed, well, when I would chunk their head to them, when I got to that rate point, the horses didn't know what to expect or what they're doing. Nowadays, I see a lot of people go and they get to their rate point, and the person isn't consistent necessarily with what they do. The horse is confused, frustrated. Then a lot of times you'll see somebody yanking on their head and ripping them backwards and all that kind of stuff. And every time I see that, I think to myself, oh my God, you're just killing that horse's confidence. I mean, if every time you walk up to Walmart and when you get to the door, you get a butt busting before you walk in or get in trouble, you're not gonna wanna go to Walmart ever. And you know, it's the same with these horses. If you, and a lot of times people, they won't do it at home, but nerves play and take a toll, and you come at a barrel race and you get a hold of them hard and you scare them. You know, and if you scare them when they're going into that turn, they don't know what to do, what to expect. And it is so hard to get a horse consistent and confident if you're doing that. You got to let them be a horse, get them to their point. If they make a mistake, so what? You just fix it at the next barrel or whatever, fix it at the next day. You know, that's how we get better. But the main thing is, you don't want to set these horses back. You don't want to run them up there and rip on their face and kill their confidence, because then you just set yourself back a week, 2 weeks, a month. And that's just how I start them. The main thing with, I want these colts to have, I want them to have confidence. I want them to be where when they go to their riders years later, if their rider accidentally drops the reins in a run, I want that horse to make a move on their own while that rider's trying to grab them reins back. I mean, that's how I want them when they're finished. But that's just how I start and my plan when I start one, and how I do it. Just simple and easy.